Is your mic on?
Is your mic on? Is this on?
Is this the best I've ever looked for an
You look
episode?
good. I was almost going to suggest. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm getting a hive.
I was almost going to suggest we like wear our wedding outfits.
I mean, this isn't far off
It's
for
not.
me.
Still, there we go. That's better.
All the buttons.
Ooh.
Look out.
Watch out. Those buttons are going to pop.
Look out, I'm gonna fucking blind you with my pale chest.
Uh-oh.
You ready?
I'm so fucking ready, dude.
Ready for this episode?
I'm so fucking ready.
Let's get into it. SMSoup!
Um.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to SMSoup, the #1 podcast with soup in the name but not on the brain. I am Spencer.
And I'm Shelby.
And together, we're here to take you on a journey through life's biggest questions like, waiter, how's the soup made?
That was the smoothest run in a while.
I was thinking about it. Nepotism babies.
You don't ever bring this up.
We hate them in most scenarios. I think nepotism is an unfortunate reality, I think.
Yes.
And I think it's easy to hate it because I don't benefit from it.
Sure.
But I do
But like,
think
who's really to blame?
the elites.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like one of those things where I don't truly hate nepotism babies
Yeah.
when it comes to like, actors are
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the main thing they get put under the.
Microscope.
I just hate when they are disingenuous about their start.
Sure.
I was thinking about it though, and I realized I actually have a favorite nepotism baby.
Can I ask one clarifying question about nepotism babies?
Sure.
Would you go so far as to, if you grew up in a small town and you like had a name, like your family has a name, is that a nepotism baby?
Do you get preferential treatment or like benefit because of it?
Possibly.
If yes, then yeah.
Okay. That was it.
So I have a favorite type of nepotism baby, I should say, not a favorite nepotism baby in general. My
Okay.
favorite nepotism baby is Maya Hawke.
Well, of course.
Because she's so cool.
Yeah, she's so fucking cool.
And
What did you start referring to her parents as? Maya Hawke's parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of their names.
yeah,
And being like Maya Hawke is the daughter
like,
of.
oh, like, hey Shelby, you want to watch Kill Bill? Who's in that again? Oh, Maya Hawke's mom.
I love that. I'm on board. Yeah.
Which is like kind of fucked up to do that to Uma Thurman and
Sure. Yeah.
and Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, but it's funny.
But it is funny.
That's like some shit that like a TikToker would do because they
Athletes.
actually don't know. Athletes are your favorite nepotism babies?
They're my favorite type of nepotism baby.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. You still have to be
Good.
incredibly good.
Yeah.
Like your name isn't enough.
Yeah.
But because of your name, you definitely get access that like a normal
You get
person
attention.
wouldn't.
You get people probably like
Maybe, yep.
your parents, I presume, or relatives know people to
Right.
hook you up with the
Exactly.
right
So
shit.
again, you get the like
Yeah.
you get access.
Yeah.
But you still have to be really fucking good.
Yeah.
To even like make it to the league and stuff like that. Like
right.
nobody's going to like just stick you out in left field simply because of your name. You might get drafted solely off of your name. You can coast off of it maybe that much.
Sure.
But yeah, I was thinking about that.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's my favorite thing because you still have to put in an incredible amount of work
Yes.
to get to all. Because like being a professional athlete is probably the hardest profession.
I mean, it's definitely the most like.
Or like skill based.
Yeah.
The most skill based. Maybe not the hardest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean though?
Yeah. I mean, hardest, first Walmart greeter, second athlete.
Like I'm not trying. Like I'm
No, I
truly
know.
not trying
I
to
know.
do anything here.
I know.
I'm not trying to say like it's not hard to be a doctor and stuff like that because it absolutely is. Maybe yeah, skill based, and then like there's the smallest pool
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I think about it. It's like the tightest field.
And it kind of has the lowest longevity.
Sure.
Like it's not like it doesn't have, what is it like? It's not a very safe career. Whereas like people would argue like, again, these are all very different comparisons, but being a doctor, obviously very intense, a lot of work, a lot of studying, not to even mention just like, there's a lot of work involved, and then
Mhm.
it asks a lot of you once you become that,
Mm,
without a doubt. But like once you are one, it's safe to say there's generally a lot of career safety
yeah,
when you are one.
sure.
Whereas like an athlete, you could have one good year and like people are like, wow, oh my God. And then a lot could
And then
happen.
you could snap a bone.
I mean, yeah, literally. And you could then be just kind of mid, or you could possibly have to end your
Yeah.
career like
Yeah,
at
you could
23.
step on first base weird.
Yeah.
You could grab a rebound and land on somebody else's foot. You could. I mean, football's too obvious on how you could have your career ended.
But yeah, like there's no long, you're putting a lot of work in for a dream that could quite literally be squashed at
Yeah.
any moment
Yeah, totally.
for a million reasons.
Um,
No, I get what you're saying though. I think it's cool.
it
I
looks-
like when they're like, "Oh, this is so and so's."
it's crazy because
Yeah.
so I bring it up mostly because Jack Leiter just got called up to the majors, and his dad and his uncle both were major league pitchers, and his cousin, so his uncle's son,
Yeah.
is a major league
Oh,
pitcher.
that's cool. I like that it's two families.
So it's just like
Mhm.
that, and then and Jack Leiter is like,
Lights
a
out.
lot of people think he's going to be very good. I forgot to actually follow up and look at how his first game actually was. But Jackson Holiday, Matt Holiday's son,
Yes. He just got
one of his
drafted.
sons just got called up
Oh,
actually.
called up. Sorry.
His other son is, I think, most likely going to be in next year's draft
That's
out of high school.
crazy.
But if he goes to college, then
Sure.
it'll be,
In a few years.
but he'll be eligible technically next year.
Yeah, I think that's so cool.
and so,
I
like,
really
that
do think that's
alone-
cool.
Like that alone, like being Matt Holiday's son, like you could have really raw tools, and like we'll draft you in the 30th round. And if that happens, you say, fuck it, I'll go to college because
Sure.
my dad is literally Matt Holiday. I've had access to like all these tools to like make myself better. I'll perform at the collegiate level, perform really well, and then my draft stock will skyrocket and I'll be a first round pick.
Yep.
Or just how good you are in high school alone, because of all the tools and stuff like that you've had access to, will be enough that you'll be a first round pick out of high school. Like all those things can happen too. And like a lot of the weight definitely is in the name, but there's still so much more to it. That's just like,
I love it, but
crazy.
I will also say, like, sometimes I'm like, but what if like they weren't interested? Like, what if at the age of 8 they were like, eh,
but I mean,
and
that's
you
the
were
other thing
like,
too,
you're
because-
gonna do this.
But that's the other thing too, because like
Not that
plenty
I
of,
think people are like pressuring.
plenty
them.
of athletes have kids that do not
Don't.
touch sports.
Sure, that's true.
So, I mean, like think about it, like Michael, like what does Michael Jordan's son do?
No idea.
Married Scottie Pippen's daughter or some shit? Who knows, right? Like,
No,
who
but like
cares?
I almost can feel the slightest bit of like, were you ever able to just have fun playing sports, or was it immediately assessing skill when you have a parent who's an athlete?
Yeah, I don't know. I just think like,
Because we all know how just hometown parents can get because they think their kid's gonna go
Yeah.
far.
yeah.
I can't even fathom a parent
Sometimes
who
I
like
imagine that's worse though.
the
like,
the hometown
Yeah,
thing.
like sometimes I think like having a parent who knows,
Yeah,
who actually was there,
and maybe they can be honest about. Yeah, that's fair, I guess.
you at least know that like nothing you're doing is for nothing.
Sure, that's true.
Whereas when you're in like a small town or whatever, like the major league roster is 26.
Yeah,
There are 30 MLB teams.
yeah,
And the 40-man roster is an additional 14, so 40,
yeah.
right? For that, and a 40-man roster, for anybody who doesn't care, means you can be called up to the majors at any point. Corresponding move then has to be made, but you can become a part of that 26 at any
Sure.
point. So let's just say that
Yeah,
for all intents and purposes of
Yeah.
like your path to the majors.
yeah.
That means you have to be 40 times 30. You have to be a top 1,200
Performer.
to even be able to like touch MLB grass.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to be in the top 1,200, 1,200.
And that's
Out of how
international
many people?
anymore.
Yeah.
That's not even like just in the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How fucking nuts.
I mean, that is very insane.
dude.
Athletes are crazy.
Yeah.
I
So
could
anyway.
never.
So if I'm hometown, right? Like,
Yeah, sure.
it's something that like, because every kid, I think, not every kid, a lot of kids,
Yeah.
the dream
Yeah.
when you grow up and you start playing a sport It's
You're
like,
gonna do that sport.
I want to play this sport forever.
Yeah.
Because this is fun and I'm
Yeah.
having fun and I never want fun to stop. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, fun does stop.
Well, not for everyone.
Not for 1,200 people. But no, like my parents were definitely the type of parents, thankfully. I mean, they offered.
Yeah.
Like, oh, do you actually want to get better?
Yeah.
Then you have to go do this stuff.
Yeah.
You have to go here and you have to work with these people and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you want to like, you have to be in the cage. You have to do all these things.
You're basically gonna work. You're gonna work at it.
But basically, it's also like, we're gonna tell you right now, the odds aren't very good.
Yeah.
So you either need to be dedicated and make that choice.
Yeah.
And it's basically, someday somebody's going to tell you you're not good enough.
Yeah.
You can decide when you want that to be at the end of the day. But anyway, once again, we're having former MLB players, fathers. We're having their kids come to the MLB. And it feels like 2 already this year. A couple years ago, the Blue Jays were like the farm system of former MLB players.
Yeah.
It's just really cool to see.
I agree. I also think it's very cool.
I mean, it's also crazy because to like put it into other numbers and to like put it into a easily understandable form, if you took every single major league player that there ever was, you couldn't fill Dodger Stadium.
That's crazy. That is very crazy.
There are too many seats.
Yeah.
You can go to any player's baseball reference page, and if they've touched MLB soil, it'll tell you what number player they were in MLB history. And the number is like, I don't know what we're up to now, 22,000 or something like that.
Which is still like nothing.
I mean, it's nuts.
Yeah.
It is nuts.
Yeah.
How good you have to be at a sport to play at a professional level. And I think it gets lost on so many people.
It definitely does. It's hard to really like wrap your head around that, I think.
And like, I know like we all want to like bemoan the fact that these people make like as much money as they do. But like when you actually take a second to take a step back, does anybody really deserve to make as much as they do? Probably not. But anyway, like when you actually like stop to think about it, it's like you can like bitch and moan about it because you're an electrician or you're a doctor or you're a teacher or whatever, and you're not getting paid enough, and that's totally valid and you're totally fair to have those gripes.
Yeah.
But do not compare your salary to that of a professional athlete, because when you actually stop to think about it, you are probably not one of 1,200.
Yeah.
And if you are, then like you have
demand a raise.
You have the perfect, you have the perfect thing to prove your value.
Yeah.
If Mookie Betts is getting paid as much as he is, but the MLB min salary is $500,000, you probably deserve to make at least $500,000.
Yeah.
If you're top 1,200 and whatever you do. Just gonna throw that out there. So anyway, that was just a fun little note I had. That was semi-relevant that I wanted to touch on. What are we doing today?
Today, the day this comes out, 2024, it is Earth Day. I avoided saying the year of our Lord.
Okay.
So I just weirdly cut that out.
What are you talking about?
Anyway, last week, if you were here, I point behind me like that means anything. We did.
Are you okay?
No, we did.
Are you already drunk?
Our relationship history.
Yeah.
If that is of interest to anyone and they didn't listen last week, that's what we did last week. And we did that because the day this comes out will be our 1-year anniversary of being married. We've been dating for like 8.5 years, 8.25.
Started in 2015, so it'll be 9 years.
This fall.
Yeah, it's like 8.5. Yep.
So yeah, roughly 8.5 years. We've been living together for well over half of that time. And now married for 1. And we thought it'd be fun it'll probably be a little rambly, but the general concept is we'll say marriage, but basically relationship do's and don'ts.
Yeah.
Because, in case you were curious, last week we kind of went over some of our thoughts on marriage. I know we've gone over our thoughts on marriage in the past, but we would say this applies to all relationship stuff. At the end, I know I texted you this when we were like talking about it a few days ago, but at the end of the day, I think it's obvious because said everywhere, but pretty much the basis of any relationship is communication.
Yeah.
So that's probably what a lot of our shit's gonna boil down to, just for a Cliff Notes version. But
yeah, if you want to be able to turn this off,
yeah,
just
you
be
just communicate.
a good communicator.
The end. Goodbye. See you next week.
No, but like,
yeah,
it really does get so understated.
yes.
Like, it's so easy to pass over and just be like, oh yeah, all you have to do is talk.
And it's like, but what does that mean?
Yeah, it's like there's a lot more there than simply like, if you're especially if you're doing marriage, right, which is like a legally binding, we're going to be together forever or until we legally unbind this binding.
Agree to, well, not agree, but yeah, legally fight over all this shit.
If you're going to like commit to being with somebody for forever, there's so much more than just like, yeah, we talk. Like there are like certain conversations that like need to be had, like financial and
life
like,
goals
like that. Yeah,
and
exactly. Like I think we've brought it up before, but in case we haven't, like the first time we truly lived on our own together, 3 months, 4 months into that, COVID happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And we were like not near anyone, not near family or anything. We literally only had each other. And I think in some ways that was really good.
Yeah.
And I think in some ways it could have been really bad.
Oh, yeah. I mean, not to say that was like the first time we were put to the test, but it definitely put to the test us treating ourselves like adults for the first time probably in our lives.
Yeah.
And yeah, like having to just fully depend on each other without just being like, oh, like again, we both have like pretty involved families that would like, you know, help in an instant, obviously. But like, yeah, we were hours away and just like, this is us. This is what we have to work with now.
And I think like the thing that like really proved that we are the perfect couple was that
Superior.
A lot of people were like, man, how do you not get like tired of each other?
Yeah.
And stuff like that, right? And it's like, maybe this is crazy, but if you're going to marry somebody and you're going to want to like be with somebody and all that stuff, like you should probably genuinely enjoy being with that person. Like, I'm not saying you have to spend every minute of every day with somebody.
Oh my God, no.
But you really need to like put yourself through that test and say like, but if I had to,
what would happen?
Can I do it?
Yeah.
Because if the answer is no, then don't do it.
Can you respect each other's spaces? Can you respect how each other likes to spend their time? Can that happen somewhat coinciding in some way? Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Like, so you might say like, well, it's such a ridiculous concept because like, why would I ever need to spend every moment with somebody? But like, if this again is the person you love, what happens if they get sick?
Yeah.
What happens if you now need to take care of this person?
Yeah.
All this other stuff. Like, what if you have to spend every waking moment with this person? Are you going to be able to do it? If the answer is no, it's like, I'm not saying like you have to be like, well, this is over. Like, you can still get a lot out of relationships without them being like the definitive end goal or whatever. Absolutely. Right. But yeah, like that's like, that was so eye-opening is that like so many people who are in like lifelong committed relationships don't like, when like it comes down to it, like don't actually love.
They don't love being around the other person, or they kind of have a lot of limitations.
And maybe, you know, maybe it's easy for us to say, just 8 short years into being together.
I did
1
Google.
year into marriage.
I was curious what the average United States marriage is said to last, because you know there's roughly a 50% rate of success with marriages.
Well, I'm guessing a lot of marriages that end in divorce are figured out within under 10 years.
The average United States divorce,
I would say within under 5, actually, probably.
As of January 2024, they found the average divorce across the United States is 8 years. Which I'd say, yeah, you know, you're almost on it. Which, of course, regionally has differences. Like they said, Washington, D.C. is seen to have more like 10.5, whereas Western United States is seen to have shorter years. So it's very demographic based.
It would also depend, because I'm guessing that doesn't include actual relationship length.
Correct. I said marriage because I was curious.
Some
Right. So that could
some
mean a
people
million
are
things.
like, some people are like us,
Yeah.
are in a relationship
Like
for
8
7
years of
years.
marriage could have meant, yeah, like 15 years of being together. Like, who knows? Exactly. So it's whatever. I was just curious
So again,
because, and I have heard it's generally the like 8 to 10 year, because in a very stereotypical sense, well, one, in a human sense, it's popular for every like 5 to 10 years. You're kind of like reassessing your life.
go into like a new phase of your
Yeah.
life.
And so people can just naturally want different things at 30 versus what they agreed on at 20, like whatever.
Definitely.
So I don't think that's insane that the average marriage ends around, not the average, if it ends around 8 years. I don't think that's crazy. I think that makes actually a lot of logical sense. But I don't know where I was going with that.
I mean, while I was getting at is like maybe 30 years from now,
Right.
we can record another episode and we'll say, holy shit, we were wrong. You got to spend time away from
Apart.
your person and just pray they never get sick. No, it's like crazy because, I genuinely couldn't like imagine like not wanting to travel with
Yeah.
you and not wanting to like literally like we talked about it last week where it's like every experience that I have and do like is made better by the inclusion of you.
Yeah.
And you're a girl.
Yeah. And I have cooties.
Girls tend to ruin everything.
Facts.
Every hobby that men have, if a woman's brought into it, it is the end of the world. See Taylor Swift enjoying football.
End of the world.
End of list. My point has been made.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, and I think like understanding, you kind of brought it up there because people's goals and stuff like that do change, absolutely. And again, it comes back to like communication, but like one, you need to be fair and like as you feel your goal is changing, you need to start communicating those.
Mm-hmm.
A huge thing that I think a lot of people don't agree on, which is absolutely asinine before getting married, is like whether or not to have children.
Yeah.
And like they don't realize that the other person wasn't on the same page as them before getting married.
Yeah.
How do you not have those? What conversations are you having?
Yeah.
That's not even a deep conversation, dude.
Yeah.
That's not even like, what do you think happens when you die, dude? That's literally just saying, do you want to bring another life into this world, dude?
Yeah, that you'll be responsible for just as much as me, and it will change like big parts of our life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, I'm pretty continuously mind blown when I meet people who like aren't on the same page who are like married. Like again, yeah.
But like that's like a huge thing, right? So it's like, and like it changes, right? People will at 20 say they don't want kids, and then by the time they hit 35 and like they're starting to get put up against like a clock and stuff like that, they suddenly realize, oh shit, maybe I do want to have a kid.
Yeah.
Totally reasonable for people's minds change.
Yeah.
People's opinions change.
Yeah.
Right? So it's totally reasonable for that to happen as life experiences happen, but it's important to just keep having those conversations and to ensure that like, are we still on the same track? Are we still tracking for like what we each want?
Yeah.
What like needs to change for us to be able to like hit our goals, our new goals, stuff like that, and just like constantly like doing those like little check-ins basically.
Agreed. I agree. I did have some questions in case we needed like direction. I'm not saying they're not necessarily like marriage related. They're just like partnership, relationship related. And I'm not even saying I have answers to them. I just kind of wrote them out.
Mm-hmm.
First question. Have there been any perceptions of partnership you had that have maybe changed or been challenged in the past 8 years? Or like, I mean, I think it's safe to say, like as a whole, like the easy answer to this question is like we started dating when we were 18 and now we're 26, 27. And so I think it's just like how you treat a relationship is so different at those ages. Not to say we like didn't take it seriously off the bat, because we did, but like you're 18, like what the fuck. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like 18-year-olds don't know, because I don't believe that rhetoric, but like you do just treat, I'd say, relationships differently, in a very like stereotypical sense at 18 versus like, again, 25 and up, even low 20s and up. Because especially like, again, I know we went over this last week, so we don't have to go in detail, but like we were in college, you're more in like a more open social setting. So it's kind of just like, yeah, like relationships are just treated differently at that age.
Yeah. I mean, I would just say that like I don't really know if like my perception necessarily changed.
Yeah.
I just think our relationship became more mature as we matured.
Yeah.
I think is like the easiest way to say it.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't know. I mean, from the jump, I was like I was confident that like I was in it for like the long haul and like I wanted to like be with you for I don't know, at least a year.
Yeah.
Um
At least a few days.
yeah, no, like but I also wasn't in a ton of relationships before
Previously.
that.
Yeah.
My last like true like relationship that lasted more than a day was like freshman year of high school.
Right.
And then otherwise I really didn't have any other relationships.
Yeah.
And honestly I view that as for the best.
Yeah.
Um
I would say
if you're gonna be in like a relationship where you're gonna say like well, boyfriend, girlfriend. I think like I think the like general like conception and like idea of that is that like there's no reason to believe that it won't end in marriage.
Sure.
If you want,
like
you know
you're
what I'm
saying that's how you approach relationships?
By that point.
Yes. Yeah.
Some people that's at 26.
Yeah.
Some people that's at 30. Some people that's at 40.
Yeah, I
whatever.
will say we were neither of us were people who were like, oh, I'm just dating.
Yeah, I'm dating
like,
around.
Yeah, I don't
I'm keeping
think
my options open.
Yeah, I've never.
If somebody with the right accent comes along, I can kick Shelby to the curb.
Yo, but
true.
Real.
But true. So real.
So real. No, I would agree. I would say neither of us were that type of person, which is really funny because some of our friends, literally, we were asked this a few weeks ago. Someone said, "Oh, so did you like how long did you date before you committed?" And it was like, "What are you saying? We committed, and like then hyperactive kind of started dating. Like dating and committing were just the same for us."
Yeah.
There was, which again, I said this last week, but like we knew each other way before, so it's not like there was an intermittent period
like
of getting to know each other.
2 dinner dates,
No.
a movie,
and then we started dating. Then we started we were committed, boyfriend girlfriend.
Yeah. New boyfriend girlfriend.
Yeah, like that stage didn't exist, which again I'd say was primarily because we knew each other previously. That probably would have existed otherwise. But I'm not saying a massive stage of that would have existed because I feel like right off the bat, you and I were just like, this is it.
Yeah,
Not to say we were talking of marriage on day 2 because we definitely weren't. But
No.
I'd say like both of us were like committed to like whatever. Like we were just like, yeah, let's just see what happens, you know?
Again, like I always had the mindset of just like any relationship I'm going to enter into, I'm going to enter in like 100%.
Yeah.
With
same.
the idea that like this is a relationship.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's always my perception of boyfriend girlfriend.
Yeah, me too.
Like if you're putting in like a title on it, that's how I view it. I always view those types of relationships as whether it's actual marriage or not, or just like committed partnership, whatever. Like titles can be different, especially now, especially in like today's social climate and stuff. But I always see that as like there's no reason to assume or think that this will end. Obviously, it can,
right?
And like that, and that's also like just as equally not surprising.
Yeah,
but
while we're in it, we're in it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. I've always had the same mindset.
So yeah, I don't know. I think like again, just in general, like I wonder if we would like. How do you think if our like second year of dating was like when the COVID era happened?
Yeah.
You know?
What would that have been
what if
like?
we were only 2 years into our relationship when that happened? Because like 5 years is already a long time to like be with somebody, I think. So like I wonder like, do you really think that would have looked any different? Or like that's what I mean. Like I almost think no. I almost think it
I
would have been.
broadly think no. I really don't think anything dramatic would have happened. I think it would have like made us face certain conversations just a little bit faster
Yeah.
than what we did.
But again, like
But
I
I
think
I
general, like as we generally matured as human
yeah.
beings, we saw the same thing happen with our general relationship.
Yeah.
And so I think we, excuse me, I think we just kind of started to hit like certain check marks
Yeah.
and checkpoints, kind of like when you're supposed to and all that stuff. And like,
Yeah.
it all just kind of fell into place.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking. I really don't I don't see if like again, if kind of being forced to like depend on each other more in a quicker time would have changed a whole lot. I don't really think so.
I mean, technically,
Again, I think there would have been like a few more like hurdles to jump,
yeah.
and again, conversations would have happened faster that happened over a longer period of time. Um which leads to just like I guess mild discomfort and like figuring it out, but it was never like bad or anything.
But I think that's the other thing too, because like we don't, and this is, I think, again, it goes with communication, but like, and having like tough conversations, like, one, if it's uncomfortable for you to talk about something, like, grow up
Yeah.
because you're going to have to.
Yeah.
And two, like, that is like another challenge. If you're not comfortable talking to the person about something, whether it's because of how they make you feel about it or whether your own like issues that you have with it, like, again, money is like the most clear and obvious thing. Like you need to both have an understanding of like what the expected like income is of like the person and yourself and how that like lays out like a hierarchy of, needs and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
how certain things are going to be met and stuff like that. And you have to be comfortable like discussing that and like coming to terms with like those things.
Yeah.
Like no matter what, in every relationship, technically not true, but almost true, somebody is going to make more money than the other person,
Yeah.
like without fail.
Yeah.
If you are not emotionally mature enough to be one or the other in that
Yeah.
situation,
Yeah.
then like
Yeah.
you have to be though, right?
Yeah.
And I think like it's like I think the like me I don't know if it's toxic masculinity, but like the typical masculine, like I I would love to be the person who's making the most money between the two of us, so that way I feel like I'm doing something helpful.
Mhm.
That said, if I am the person making less, hopefully that means I have an easy ride, and I'll take it. If I just have a mommy to provide for me,
Yeah.
like my ego doesn't shatter because of
Right,
it, right?
right.
So, um, but there are a lot of people who like
That's a
can't be
struggle for
okay with
them.
that, or
Yeah.
like there are people who hold that information like hostage
Yeah.
and like weaponize it.
Yeah.
It's like you can't do that. You can't weaponize things
Right.
within the relationship for other outcomes in the relationship.
Yeah.
Um,
Which I would say, this obviously is not true across the board. There's a lot of things that would make a person do that. But I think a big thing of being in a relationship is really sitting and analyzing how you feel about the relationships you grew up seeing, things you liked, didn't like, even maybe things you liked if someone points it out as something they don't like, maybe sitting there and thinking about it and
Yeah.
being like, oh, like either maybe changing your mind or being like, no, that is something I like enjoy, like that is something in a relationship I want, like, it's kind of all those things. Like I'd say it's like somewhat of a conversation, I'd say, amongst friends of like, oh, I can tell I picked up this habit from my parents, from hell, my grandparents, just like relationships you grew up around and things that you, again, whether intentionally or a lot of times unintentionally,
Sure.
picked up these habits and how you want to respond to someone. And so a lot of those things that are very just like personality based and kind of like it's kind of, you are kind of always having to like self-examine and just like, because you just, you picked up habits along the way, the other person picked up habits along the way, and it's like just being honest when like something is bothering you, and you need to, as maybe someone who's bothered by someone, go, one, is this something that is worth me getting bothered about? Is it really like, what am I asking this person to change by like being bothered by it, and like trying to basically find a middle ground,
Yeah.
most likely. Because yeah, it's just there's, especially if you've like not lived together or not had to depend on each other a lot, and now you're in a situation where you are, that's always the biggest thing, is like you don't know how someone functions on the day to day. Like even if you've been with someone for like 2 years, if you haven't like exclusively shared a living space, shared responsibilities, not even financially, but just like around a space, like a lot, you can learn a lot about a person by like staying with them for like a few weeks.
Yeah.
And acting like the space is both of yours. Because yeah, that's like when you actually really, because that's really at the end of the day the true details of like a relationship, is like, is it gonna drive you fucking insane if you're having to share responsibilities with this person, is like kind of it at the end of the day, which like oversimplifies it and also is like not descriptive at all. But yeah. I guess I had a, do you think, or I guess how different do you think your life would look if we weren't still together? Do you think any major life trajectories would have changed because of, I guess, not being together? Yeah. Which I know, like, I just find that so
I
interesting,
don't know.
because it's like I wouldn't even know where to start with
Yeah.
that.
Genuinely don't even like thinking about it.
Okay, sorry. I didn't want to like stress you out. That
No,
wasn't the
I
goal.
like. Yeah, no, I just don't like thinking about it.
Sorry. Oh, well, I mean, again, this isn't really, this is kind of like not answering the question,
don't
but it
think-
made me think of it.
Sorry.
I'd say we went to college, graduated college, and then we were both genuinely open to anything,
Yeah.
which what makes this question pretty much unanswerable.
Well, so I was gonna say I don't think my life would be that different.
Yeah.
I think yours would.
I think
be.
mine would be pretty different.
Because
yeah.
you're, at the very least, the move to Boston was like,
Yeah, because of you.
yeah, hinged on me.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I would agree with that. I don't know what the fuck I'd be doing, but yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I probably would have gravitated to a city because that's always what I wanted.
you just,
It's-
you would have just gravitated to another man,
Oh, right, of course.
which
Who
may
hopefully
led
would have
to a different
gravitated to a
city.
city. Yeah, I probably would have just gravitated to as close to a city as I could get.
Yeah,
And just like figured something out.
I think.
But I like, that's like as most descriptive as I could get, because I really have no idea.
I think. I can't even imagine what attempting to like date or anything like that would be.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so it's so hard to think, because like I know you're gonna get annoyed when I say this, but I genuinely do believe this. If we weren't together, I don't know. It also depends on like how long we were together, if we ever were together and stuff like that. Like that would play a part
Sure.
to some degree, but like genuinely have no idea how or
Have a
if,
date.
or yeah, like if I
Yeah.
would and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just because like it seems like such an impossible hurdle.
I will
Like
say
making like friends as an adult
is hard.
is already hard. So like
Yeah.
trying to like make a friend and then also say like I want to see you naked.
That's so scary.
It is.
It is.
And creepy.
I agree with you. Yeah, don't stop
Like
saying
there's a
that to
line
people.
that,
Yeah.
Like, and some people just, that's their opener.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just looking to fuck. That's crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah,
I
I don't know. And that's what I mean. Like, I kind of hate thinking about it because, like, one, I wouldn't even want to imagine
Sure.
like what my life would look like, because all things considered, you know, we talk about like how there might be infinite timelines and stuff like that, but it's just like, no matter what, I can be pretty happy with the fact that like no matter what, at least I have you.
Yeah.
Like, even if that is my worst case scenario, wouldn't want to be in that worst case scenario with anybody else.
Yeah.
So yeah. I was listening to another podcast recently that started talking about quantum suicides again, and I was like, holy shit.
I hate that so much.
And I was like listening to it, and I was just like, because you and I were talking on the phone 2 days ago, and I was telling you how I woke up kind of like in a panic, and then I was listening to the podcast where they were talking about it, and I was just like, what if I died there?
Ew.
And like this
it's in your brain.
No, this you's here.
Oh.
And we're talking about this, and you're like, shut up, Spencer, that's stupid. But like, you might not even be real.
I hate that. That's
because
so
the you from that timeline was like, oh, Spencer's not texting me today. That's kind of weird. Hopefully he's okay. Oh, I'll text our friend Mir and have her go check on him because he's not responding. I'm starting to get a little worried. And then Mir comes in and I'm dead.
That's awful.
Crazy.
That's awful.
Maybe
I hate
not.
that so much.
So anytime you have like a close to death experience, but it doesn't happen, just think like in another timeline that you died.
I hate that.
But in the current timeline, not your time yet. And no matter what, whatever your current conscious is the one that'll make it to the end, which is like a peaceful death, whatever that looks like, whatever that is. So all of that's to say, this conscious self that is going to get to make it to the end. I just hope I'm not one of the sorry suckers in your
conscience
universe
that
is going to have to deal with anything tragic.
Yeah, seriously.
But no matter what, like, I think like whenever somebody's like, oh, if you could go back and like change this or change that, it's just like the ripples, you know? And it's like, I think it should be something that comforts most people and like gets them to like be happy with like where life has taken them. Yeah. Because I think no matter what, we should be happy with the decisions and like not dwell on the past. Yeah. But yeah, like I think like if we actually had to like put it to the test, which is the great thing about hypotheticals is you don't have to, but if you actually had to, I think a lot of people would realize like how much unhappier they would end up making themselves. Yeah. And I feel like that would actually happen and the trade-off wouldn't be worth it. I would never want like going back and like, oh, like college put me in such massive debt. And it's like, well, would you go back and not do it? It's just like, honestly, they were expensive, but some of the best friends I've ever made. So like, I'll take it. Right. I would pay it again, I guess, if I had to. Yeah. To get the same group of friends. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean, yeah, this is now just like in my brain getting not philosophical, but like just effectively. I don't necessarily think that like, I definitely don't think that like two people who decide to commit to each other in some capacity, I definitely don't think you need to like see eye to eye on like anything, on everything. Like you can have like, you know, different viewpoints about life. And like, I think there are certain things you should probably on the same page, but overall, if you can coexist and agree to just like, again, respect each other's viewpoints and whatnot. But yeah, I feel like something that's like helped us has been, I would say we're both people who are just always like looking to move forward. Like it's not like, I feel like sure we'll like, if we're deciding something, we'll sit on it. Yeah. I'm not gonna say we don't take our time like analyzing we are big analyze our options people. Yeah. We will make spreadsheets. We will do the work to make our decisions. So it's not to say don't think through your decisions, but I'd say we are people who once we've made our decision, like for the most part, we leave very little room for regret or questioning or anything like that. And obviously, and if like shit happens, then we just like adjust, like because that's literally all you can do. Mm-hmm. Like I really don't think we've made nothing crazy. I don't think we've really made any regrettable decisions. Like not in my opinion. You know? I don't think we've dove headfirst into anything and then like went, oh fuck, we gotta get out of the water. Yeah. And reassess where to dive in at. Right. Like my opinion can't think of either. Strong enough. Yeah. I mean, I think there's been plenty of like purchases. Sure. Where, and this probably mostly goes at me, I think there were plenty of times where like we bought something that like maybe we didn't really need that right now. I
Yeah.
think we do that a good bit,
Yeah.
but even that's not something worth regretting.
Yeah, and we're not like ruining ourselves over it. At least so far.
Not yet. Give it a couple months, we'll see.
But yeah, I would like I think that's like, and again, I'm not saying like you need to be in a partnership with someone who feels that way. Like a lot of people feel different ways about life choices.
Yeah.
Like, but I would say that something that helps us is like I strongly believe like as a person and just like not regretting my own decisions.
Yeah.
Like again, I know I'm only 26, but I can like pretty confidently say I have like very near to none regrets in my life. Like I don't feel like at any point I like did something that put me on the wrong path or whatever. And I don't sit here and think like, oh, but what if I would have been like, well, what if I would have done that? Like I just don't really think about that.
Yeah.
Maybe for 2 seconds is like a fun hypothetical, but I've never actually sat and like worried I did something wrong because it's like that's not gonna help me. I'm where I am and I need to decide what I'm doing moving forward.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like we've both just had that viewpoint. I feel like we're both just people who have that viewpoint. And so like making decisions, yes, we like take the time to really harp on things in the process. But like once we've made it, it's like, okay, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like that's it. That's the game plan. And sure, we go over it 500 times, but that's the game plan. And I guess maybe just to end it, since we're getting pretty long, I did put, which just might be a really obvious answer, what would you say you value most in a partnership? Or maybe what should people value most? Or however you feel like answering that question.
So I think this is something that I could technically be better at, but maybe you don't value it as much as I value it.
Okay.
Something that I absolutely love about you, and I think what like makes you so perfect for me, and I think why so many people will look at our relationship and be like my parents can like look at our relationship and be like, wow, yeah, Shelby really is like the person for you and all that stuff.
It's my butt.
Is that it's your butt. My parents are constantly commenting on your butt.
I know.
No, it's that like you're a very go with the flow person and you're willing to kind of like do anything and try anything for the most part.
Yeah.
So any hobby that I've had, you've like to a degree picked up that hobby. So like I love baseball. I love watching baseball.
Yeah.
You're not a baseball savant in any way whatsoever.
I try.
But I can kind of talk at you with like baseball stuff. And for the most part, you go, and I know you're not just nodding, you know, like to a degree.
It has taken quite a few
like,
years.
I can say like OPS plus, and you understand like what the plus means and stuff like that. And like, and then that can kind of be it. And like, I can say 110, and you can kind of be like,
and be like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
10% above league average.
Exactly. And then I'll be like, yeah, but Trout's like a 172. And
I
you're
go,
like, oh, that's really good. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
The sound that comes out of my mouth whenever Spencer talks about baseball.
So like, I think about that and like how like you already like had played video games like throughout your life and stuff, but like I feel like you've leaned a bit harder into it, and like you're just so like willing to just like you're like, well, this is like a way for us to spend time together. So like let's do this hobby and whatever it is. Yeah. And again, I feel like it's something that I could probably be a little bit better at.
Well, no, we watch Project Runway sometimes.
Well, you cut me out of that.
I did. I'm sorry. You can come back.
No, it's all right.
Because we're about to be on season 4.
It's all right.
Christian Sirianni.
You're. It's also good to have stuff that is like just around. Which I know. To that same point, like I don't only play video games with you.
I know.
And you don't only play video games with me.
I've started solo videoing, gaming.
For the most part, if you play video games, we're playing it together.
Yeah.
But like, it is still nice that it's like I do still have my hobby that I can like.
Oh my god, yeah.
I guess really that's like our one shared hobby.
Yeah, I'd say for the most part. I mean, obviously, like
it's kind of nice that we don't share every hobby.
Yeah, I would say so.
Media intake is like our main, which
that's what
is
I was
pretty
say.
Typical, I think, for like most people.
Yeah.
But again, like, but I still do like, I would say like, I have
That's
2 levels
more
of gaming
yours. Yeah.
as a hobby, and
Yeah.
even media intake in a lot of ways.
Yeah. I agree.
But that's where we definitely have the most bleed over. But it is something that like I almost sometimes feel like I'm shite and a piece of shit because I'm like, oh yeah, and Shelby has her hobbies.
I don't really think you're a
And
piece of shit.
Do
I mean,
I partake in
I
any of them?
understand that. I really enjoy learning new things, like new skills, I guess. I hate putting that word behind it because I'm not always trying to get good at something. I just enjoy learning to do it and trying it.
Yeah.
And
I
I just like I'm a person who like I love to do stuff with my hands.
You also do a lot of things that are just different creative avenues.
Yeah.
And honestly, sometimes I definitely get more enjoyment out of getting to see what you've done than like I myself
doing
attempting
something.
To do it.
Yeah, yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
I get that.
Like I get way more satisfaction and like I take way more interest in like because you're good. Like you're good at most of the stuff you do. I also think just like another key thing, like taking an active interest in the things that your partner
Oh my
does
God,
is
yeah.
like super important. And
Yeah.
so like you have your whole like business,
Even if you don't get it.
you have your whole like business side of things.
Yeah.
And it's like I try to take like as much of an active role in helping you out with stuff there as I can with like my dumb business brain of like
I was say I let you come in and be like I like running shit by you because you have way more of a logical, analytical brain than I do. Like that is not my specialty. So
and so like finding a way to like
yeah,
ping pong work off of each other with stuff and ideas and things like that is just like so key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say I'd say along those lines I feel like there are 2 things I've always said are really important to me. One is genuinely, this is so corny, but genuinely a sense of humor because I'm just like everything sucks. And if someone can't find a way to laugh at that, like I need to find a way to laugh at it. And so like I need someone else who can find a way to laugh at it. And so I do feel like some sense of humor is like genuine top tier need for me because it's my coping mechanism.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
Why are you just blank staring at me?
I don't know.
You don't think you fill that?
I don't know if I've managed to fill that. What's the other thing?
Second thing is I mean in
at least 4 inches.
in a broad way, I would say just like feeling supported, but beyond that like I've always done like creative things and I don't need the person I'm with to get it. I just need the person I'm with to be okay with it. You know what I mean? Like it's just
that I've definitely done.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Fine with it. You do you, girl.
Like I'd say we're both activity people and hobby people, and we both are people who like crave having a space to do that in.
Mm-hmm.
And so it works that we're both that type of person. So it's obvious to us to create space for those things. And so that's easy. But yeah, again, it's like one of those things where it's like, I get that like I don't really have a reason as to why I do things I do. Like I just like fucking want to, and that's the end of it. And I've never needed someone to get it. I've just needed someone to be okay with it. Because yeah, I feel like, you know, I mean, I meet other creatives and they're like, yeah, it's obvious. We all just do it. But like when I sometimes talk to non-creatives, they're like, what the fuck do you do? Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
What, like, they kind of act like it's a waste of time. They kind of, like, it's just like, it's a whole thing. And so I just, like, I've always known.
It is. I just try not to vocalize it.
I've just always known that, like, I'm never going to function well with someone who obviously thinks everything I care about is a waste of time. And I know that's really obvious.
Yeah, it is. But,
like,
if you sit there and you're like, oh, my girlfriend or my boyfriend does this thing.
Yeah.
Kind of stupid.
Yeah, right?
Just like
that's just mean. Like, that's just disrespectful.
Okay, why are you with them?
Yeah.
If you think that thing that they do is stupid, like,
right.
And it's a hobby or whatever, and they probably do it a lot, like.
And it's like, it's one of those things where like, I've always known creating is going to be pretty much my go-to activity. Yeah. And it's unfortunately it requires a lot of space. And so I have shit everywhere in our space. And yeah, I could be cleaner about it and I try my best. But like outside of that, like you obviously love, again, like media intake and video games. And so we've just like, we were easy to like prioritize those 2 things, having space.
Yeah.
And those 2 things like being a part of like our everyday lives.
2 TVs.
two TVs, baby. But yeah, I would say, because again, not that I really have like a ton of like dating experience either, but like I absolutely like bump into people who like or people might come over and they'll like look around and they'll be like, holy shit, this is crazy. But like we just like it makes sense for us.
Yeah.
And like that's how I just like
know.
Yeah. That it's like it works. Or like yeah, like when I do random shit and then fucking assholes are like, oh, what does your husband think of that? And it's like, what answer are you looking for?
And I'm just like, tell them to do
Shut the
something
fuck
that
up.
I can't
Shut the
say.
fuck up. Yeah, like it's shit like that.
Did you tell that person to like go fuck themselves?
That's
because
like
what?
That's the question that makes me angry, because people would say that to me also about like people I feel like have said that to you about like your gaming stuff and been like, oh, and Shelby's cool with that. Like I feel like we both kind of get that sentiment.
Yeah.
And that's a really dumb sentiment because
video games. Oh, Shelby's cool with that. It's just like, bro, if your wife isn't okay with you getting on and playing GTA with the boys, Taylor Swift's not the one for you.
But I think that sort of sentiment shows, one, I don't really understand what someone wants when they ask that question. I really don't. Like, I'd love to ask someone, what answer are you looking for?
Maybe they're just looking for validation that like there's no way this relationship can be perfect. Hopefully it sucks.
Right?
And then you find out that like, oh no, they both support each other. No.
Yeah, like that's what confuses me, is when people ask that question. Because I think it also then says so much about them and maybe their like perception of other people.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I don't know. But boils down to that.
Getting a little long.
We are getting a little long.
But it's very important that we close the book on something.
Okay.
Not just our marriage.
Okay.
We finally watched.
Oh my god, I forgot.
The newest Mission Impossible
We
movie.
did.
Real quick, we don't need to spend a lot of time on it.
We don't. But in case you're like, why is this coming up? Months ago. Probably almost a year ago.
Almost a year ago.
We started rewatching all the Mission Impossibles.
You know how we have bits.
And we love Tom Cruise as an actor in Mission Impossible. I'm getting very specific. We started as an actor.
Okay.
Yeah. But we started watching Mission Impossible from the first one through because we were like, how do they keep getting better and better? And
it was like timing out pretty close.
Yeah, we were gonna watch them all and be ready to see the new one. Yep. And then obviously the strike happened. We paused all of that. Yep. Finally saw the newest movie. Wow.
Wow.
That's all I have to say is wow.
I
don't want to say too much because it's not that old of a movie. I don't want to like just. It's been out a few months.
It is the best one.
It's really fucking good.
It is the best one.
It's really good.
It's the best one.
I struggle because I really like Fallout.
Fallout is also very good.
I really like Fallout.
So I was actually thinking about it a little bit, and something that like we would have to kind of do in retrospect, and it's not worth it. But 4, 5, and 6 all lean on each other to some degree.
Yes.
This one feels like the start of a new trilogy almost. Agreed. Or like two-parter or whatever.
Yeah.
But even this one technically won't stand on its own because like
it's
the end does have like a cliffhanger and like
it's part 1 of at least 2.
Right.
Maybe more.
It's no longer called Dead Reckoning Part 1. It is just called Dead Reckoning. But when you watch the movie, literally when the title card happens, it does say Part 1, which is very funny.
Yeah.
Anyway. So when I stop and like think back, now I'm kind of like maybe 3 is the best one.
Rabbit's Foot.
When you like say like if I just watched each of these individually, maybe just 3 alone. Like if I didn't watch any other Mission Impossible movie and I had to just watch one,
I would choose 3
might be the best.
I would point to 3.
But also 6 might still like Fallout might still be the best.
I think you could watch Fallout without watching 4 and 5.
I think you could maybe watch this one.
There'd be some context you'd be a little lost on. You could totally watch the newest one without any others.
This one they like retcon, like not retcon, but they like kind of just like added in backstory for him,
which made me really nervous. I'm not gonna lie.
They were just like, oh yeah, this thing that happened years ago is like my past is coming back to haunt me, and it's just like,
and they had, and it
that's like the backstory that you need.
Yeah.
His inner relationships with Simon Pegg and Luther. I like how I called the one by his character because I can't think of the actor's name, and I called Simon Pegg because I can't think of his character's name.
Yep.
you may not understand like their relationships
Sure.
perfectly.
But you don't even need to. It's one of the things that's a bonus by watching all of them that you like fall in love with them.
Yeah.
But I don't think you. I mean, I wouldn't, but I think you could watch the newest one without having watched any others.
Anyway, it's so fucking good.
But
And
yeah.
I don't know, maybe I'm being a little biased just because like I'm the type of person when like the new Pokemon game comes out, I'm like,
Yeah.
this Pokemon game's fucking phenomenal. And then
Yeah.
like in retrospect, I can look back at it and be like, okay, it has a lot of shortcomings. This movie is like,
So
it's
good.
electric. It's
Yeah.
like, it moves. It's 2.5 hours, but it's fun and like adrenaline and everything like that for 2.5 hours.
Yep.
The like stunts and like the fights and
Of
stuff
course,
like that
the stunts are ridiculous. I was like actually like cracking up almost at how this movie I think did stress me out more than any other movie. It felt like nonstop action, which is like I would say is a pretty consistent theme, but this one genuinely like their life was basically at risk for actually 70% of the movie. I mean, it was the usual, like, obviously for some reason everyone on the planet wants Ethan Hunt caught, but I just felt like there was added pressure this time, like so much added pressure. And I couldn't sit here without really thinking about it and be like, why did they feel that way? But it just did. And I felt like there were so many more intense stunts and like one after another. Crazy.
There was a couple of like really good because like the main thing that everybody's after is effectively an AI that is effectively unstoppable and like can
sentient
like, and can like have like massive control over like so many things, mainly information.
Yeah.
And so they like basically like politicians are basically saying like this would give us absolute power.
Yeah.
Like you would not be able to stop us.
Correct.
Because we would have absolute power. We'd be all knowing and like everything like that off of this like machine basically. And
so everyone wants it. Government officials, quote unquote bad guys,
right.
You know,
but
everyone.
then like you have like the Impossible Mission Force, which is a terrible name.
Yeah.
And like they genuinely are like, no, we want to put an end to it. Like we want to stop it.
Yeah.
And like whatever we can do.
Yeah.
And one person's like, this is what he always does. He always goes rogue. So we're going to stop him before he even has the chance to go rogue. And the one guy literally has this like great line of just like, but what if he always has a reason to go rogue? And it's just like, yeah, okay. And it's like, but he does.
But like literally like a government official is basically going like he's wrong for going rogue. And literally his like assistant / trainee or whoever the fuck is like, but what if he's right for going rogue?
Yeah.
And like to be a part of the system and be questioning the system.
He also asks that same guy. This guy like is the only person who's not a part like of the team who has clarity. Yeah. And can think rationally. Yeah. And at one point he's asked like, what would you do with absolute power? And he was like, I would give like if this weapon came into my hands, what would you do with it? And he was like, I would give it to my supervisor because no one person should have control of that thing. And the person's just like, you're a stronger person than me if you could do that, basically.
Yeah, but then almost within that conversation, he's immediately like, well, then wait, should anyone have it?
Exactly.
Like literally being asked the question made him kind of have the opinion Ethan Hunt has immediately. And like he's
so like somehow, and he was like he was a net new character.
He was, yeah.
All that whole like team that was after him. Yeah. Anyway, so you have those guys, and you see character growth in them in the 2.5 hours, which is phenomenal.
Which is great because since again I know it's not being classified as part 1, but because we know the second movie is going to so heavily continue the story, it is fun that there are now these somewhat other characters that we're going to be interacting
they're
with.
Gonna be like new parts of the team.
Probably eventually, maybe by the end of the movie, yeah.
Anyway, it's phenomenal.
It's so
crazy
good.
How good they like. It's so cool how you get like these types of movies and they've found a way to keep them continuously fresh.
Yes.
In a landscape of slop.
Yep.
I'm not saying that like the budget of these movies isn't getting bloated and stuff like that because I'm sure it is.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's ridiculous. And I'm sure they could do it technically for less, but like the movies are always fun. Yep. No matter what. Every single Mission Impossible movie is fun to some degree. Yep. They get your adrenaline going. They're just action packed. And they're always like funny, satisfying, like I've yet to like finish watching a Mission Impossible movie, like maybe 2, right?
Yeah, 2 is pretty.
But like I've yet to actually finish one and be like, that was bad.
Yeah.
Like you know, like maybe they just have the right formula to like make you think they're good. I
Yeah,
don't know, but I
I know.
actually think they are genuinely good.
I love them. I love them so much. They're like probably my like favorite movie franchise.
And like they aren't just fun because like I'm all for a fun movie.
Yeah.
Fast and Furious, people will like point to that as like, and I haven't watched Fast and Furious, so I'm not trying to dog on it. But
Yeah.
a lot of people will point to that as a franchise that's like, I know the movie really isn't that good. The story is nothing special, but the movie itself is fun, and
Yeah.
that's fine. And like
Yeah.
everybody needs that type of thing.
Yeah.
That's like good slop,
Yeah.
you know. But I feel like we have so much bad slop, and so for a movie to just be good and
Yeah.
not even slop is
Yeah.
just.
Also, if anyone's ever watched a Mission Impossible movie, you know the first 5 to 6 minutes you are in for something.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it always opens with some crazy stunt, some crazy trick, or something of the above. And I would say that's always the thing I'm
Also-
so excited for.
also-
And I would say this did not disappoint.
Have we? I feel like we've now had. We once again had another movie where this is a minor spoiler, but at some point early on in the movie, Tom Cruise takes a mask off
Yep.
to reveal, oh my God, it's me, Tom
Yeah.
Cruise.
Yeah.
But then later on, when the plan is, we're going to use our mask technology,
It breaks.
and they like show how they would do it. Before they're able to do it, the mask thing breaks.
Yeah.
It's the
That's
second
how-
time they did it because they did that
yes.
in Fallout.
Yep. Yep. You're so right. Because he just hoped that they wouldn't have met the courier yet.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Henry Cavill's character smashed the laptop to break it
Yeah.
and was like, "Oh, I can't go to work now."
Yeah. Yep.
But they used it to pretend to be Wolf Blitzer to get the guy to give over the code.
Yep.
It was phenomenal stuff. Good stuff.
So freaking good.
Okay, I just wanted to quickly wrap that up.
Watch Mission Impossible,
we could end an
please.
era.
Anyway, yes, we'll review the next one in over a year because it comes out in May 2025.
Next week,
Next week is Movie Club. We have movies that were nominated for Best Picture from that were made in the year of 1979. So technically, if you're
the
googling
award show
it,
happened in
in the
1980.
80s, yeah. For clarity,
But if Kramer versus Kramer was the winner,
you're in the
you're
right
in the
year.
right year. If Kramer versus Kramer wasn't nominated, you're in the wrong year.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to, I think.
Yes, correct. So we it's a great episode. We had so much to say. So genuinely go listen to it. And we already have our next year picked, which you will find out in that episode. Which I will also eventually post the movies that are from our new year at SMSoup Podcast on TikTok and Instagram. Obviously, you can find this podcast on pretty much all streaming services or on YouTube at SMSoup Podcast on YouTube. And you can find both of our socials in the description. So we will see you next week for Movie Club. I swear it's a good one. Like, just spoiler alert, we liked them more than 83. So
Spoiler.
we had a lot to say, which was good. But yeah, that is all. Happy Earth Day. Happy Us Day. And we will see you next week.